of the Valdres Center Advisory Board. But more importantly, I am a graduate of Southern University. Tonight, we've gathered for a very special occasion to celebrate the opening of the Valdres Center for Philanthropy here at Southern University, and to also publicly recognize the wonderful legacy of the Valdres family and their longtime commitment to our beloved university. Before we get into the body of the program tonight, I would like to recognize some of the members of various groups that have joined us tonight. I want to ask that they stand when I call their names. First, all the members of the Southern University System Board of Supervisors. Will you please stand? Thank you. Members of the Southern University System Foundation Board of Directors. Thank you. You'll meet him later, but I also want to recognize the president of the Southern University System, Dr. Belton. We have the chancellor of the Southern University Law System, Mr. John Pierre. The chancellor of Southern University Shreveport, Dr. Rodney Ellis. The chancellor of Southern University New Orleans, is she here? Okay, she might be joining us later. The past chair of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Antonio Clayton. I didn't see him. Okay, the past chair of the Board of Supervisors, Ms. Ann Smith. Past chair of the Board of Supervisors and President Emeritus of Southern University, Dr. Tolliver. I don't think I've seen him. Okay, the current chair of the Southern University System Foundation Board, Mr. Fred Banks. We know he's here, and we'll hear from him later. Is the mayor of New Roads here? The Honorable Carnell Dukes, I'm sorry. Are there any other elected officials here? Okay, well, everybody else here is an honored guest, and we're happy to have you here tonight. The university, our foundation, the Valdres family, along with other local and national partners, have teamed up to launch this remarkable program here at Southern. And it's designed to expand the knowledge base for volunteer action. We encourage you to consider making a gift to the center. There are envelopes there on your tables, and we hope that you will use them. You see envelopes along with a brochure that describes the Valdres Center. And as you leave tonight, the staff will be at the exits so they can pick up your contributions as you leave. We believe we have a great program in store for you this evening. So we want to start with a fabulous dinner, which some of you have already started eating. And then we will have a documentary on the Valdres family. And what is sure to be an inspirational address by our keynote speaker you will meet later. And then we'll have a very special presentation to the Valdres family. So we hope you will sit back, enjoy your dinner, and enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
Valdres. I'm a native of Louisiana. My parents had 8 kids, 5 boys and 3 girls. All of us were born and raised on the same property in Bush, Louisiana, 15 miles west of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was raised on a farm. My father was a school teacher, and we had the only grocery store in my area. My parents were beautiful people. They always encouraged me to go to school and be the best.
My dad was handsome, or still is. He was always friendly, go-getter, had a lot of personality.
There was one story I heard. They said that when he was in school, he would come with a briefcase. And they said that he was always the businessman. He was always geared for success.
He also comes from a family that has a work ethic like no other. All of the brothers and sisters work extremely hard, and they come from that kind of background.
Out of the 64 parishes, I came from the smallest parish. And when I went to grade school, quite natural, the school was segregated. I went to high school, it was segregated. But going to high school, I was very lucky. It was segregated, but the year I entered high school, we had a high school. Thank God. I was the first class. Southern was my only choice because it was not very far from my hometown, and I heard so much about Southern, and the other universities didn't appeal to me. It was a great experience. I can trace everything back to Southern because it was the stepping stone of my life.
Southern University helped my father to become the man that he is.
Upon graduation, I didn't work in Louisiana. I came to California the day after commencement exercise.
My mother was originally born in Missouri, and she moved out to Los Angeles to become a nurse. And she met my father in the apartment across the street from where she lived. And so that's how they met. They were neighbors.
We met in September, October, not sure what month. It's very short. And by November, we were married. I knew what I wanted, and I think she knew what she wanted. So we just got the ball on the road.
My mother, Doris Valdry, had the same work ethic as my father. They were always go-getters. They were always trying to get to the next level and accomplish their goals.
This is one of the things my father told me about my mother. He said, one of the things I loved about your mother is we both wanted the same thing. And that was to succeed in life and have a good life.
To them, family came first, whether it was their own nuclear family or their brothers and sisters and their parents. They always had a positive outlook on life no matter what was going on. They chose each other well.
Leon and Doris and the kids came here in 1972, and Leon has really been the biggest contributor to this parish. So he is #1 giver in the history of our church.
My wife thought it was great that we gave back because it's a way of life to help other people. We're all here to help people.
My dad says that our greatest role on this earth is to help each other. He means that. I've seen that throughout his life. I've experienced it. My sister and I have both experienced it.
He'd say, you should always help others when you can. If you have the ability to help someone, you should.
And what I love about Leon is he's so humble, so unassuming. You never know it. He passes out the worship aids every Sunday. He takes up the collection. He's just a really humble man. He's the real deal. We have a lot of people that like to tell you their accomplishments and they're very boastful. Leon's the opposite. He's very humble.
We're not braggadocious people, we're just regular people. And the most greatest goals I can ever achieve, reaching back, helping people, bringing people along. It's not about the money, it's about what you're doing for the people.
Leon Valdre, for over 40 years, he has been the greatest contributor to this parish. Generous guy. When I first came, I knew nothing about him. Why? He's humble. Humble, humble, quiet, quiet. And recently, he gave a very generous donation to his alma mater, Southern University, located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And rightly so, they are erecting the Valdre Center for Philanthropy. And it's going to hopefully inspire young people to give back, to not forget where you've come from, and to think of the less fortunate. And that's why I'm so proud of Leon. Again, he's been so generous to his university, to his parish, all these other charitable causes. He's a great philanthropist, and he never talks about it.
I want people to know that my dad was really a legend before he was even a legend. He's always been the same. Whether was a little boy doing odd jobs, swimming in the bayou, to being excellent student at the university, to being an engineer in Los Angeles when he worked at a company that the people actually cried when he left to start his own real estate business, and even today, giving back the way that he is, and now he's going to have his name actually on a university school. So it's just amazing.
Leon Edward Valdre, he's a great father. He teaches others how to function in the community, how to give back, how to teach, how to become the person that you were meant to be, and then reach back and help others do the same.
I want people to say about Leon Valdre, he came here and he did more than eat his lunch. He fulfilled a need for being on planet Earth, help human nature. We were put on planet Earth to do things. That's my goal, helping the people. Welcome to Southern University, the Valdre Center.
I'm Warren W. Valdre, graduate of Southern University, class of 1959. I grew up in a little place called Bush, Louisiana, and was a great place to grow up. A country boy, and I understood a lot about birds and the bees, but the focus of our lives were always to get an education because you can improve the life of yourself and others. My father's name was Leon Valdre, Sr., and my mother's name was Mary Jacob Valdre. I grew up with 8 brothers and sisters. I kind of grew up pretty fast because I was kind of in the middle. I was a 7th child and a boy. And so I guess they expected great things of me, and I don't think I let too many of them down. On my way to church on Saturday morning, as a young boy, about 5 years of age, I would see hundreds of people chopping sugarcane. There was one man on a horse. He was a white man. And he had a shotgun across his lap and a bullwhip on the side of the horse. And I just, as a child, I didn't understand why so many of those people were working out there in the field, and they wasn't dressed very well. It wasn't a very beautiful sight. And my theory was, what can I do to make sure that I didn't become one of those people chopping sugarcane as I grew up and become a young man? I was expected to go to college after high school. and Southern was the only place there to go. So I just knew I was going to go to Southern. Southern was great. It was a great institution. It still is a great institution. And it helped shape my mind, helped shape my vision, my thoughts. Southern taught me how to be a man. As I finished college there, it was difficult to get a job right in Baton Rouge. And they had large industrial facilities there. But I couldn't get a job there because they didn't hire blacks. So the only thing I was able to do is get a job teaching in New Roads, Louisiana.
Well, my sister introduced us, but our family knew each other from way back when because being Creole people, you just knew all the people far and near. And my dad knew Warren and knew Warren's father.
And her father just loved me because he felt that I couldn't do any wrong.
My dad liked Warren very much. Warren to him was favorable because he never did like most of the fellas who came to see Virginia. In fact, he wouldn't even come out to greet him. But Warren, if Warren was coming, he came out because he liked him. Again, Warren got that soft touch about him. He can butter up anybody with his speech and talking. My dad would say that Valdries were qualified people.
I'm Virginia Rodney Valdry. I'm from a little town called Mix, Louisiana. My mother came from Ascension Parish, which is Donaldsonville. She's Rosalie Godin. And my father was Conway Rodney. They were sharecroppers. They had 7 children. I'm the 3rd child and the 1st daughter. Yes, I learned to drink coffee at 2 years old and a lot of bad things. I learned how to fight. I was a tom girl, as they call it, because I could beat any boy far and near.
Virginia had a lot of life in a sense. In school, she was argumentative. She didn't mind telling people off. She didn't mind even getting into a fight. I think Virginia must have got into a little tiff every day with somebody.
I could remember we lived on the main highway, and we had relatives that dropped in all the time at dinner time, and my mother could feed 20 people on 1 chicken. And we were always given our vegetables and our whatever. We never had a lot of cash money to give anybody, however, because my dad would always say, I don't have money, but I can make sure you don't starve.
The pay that I was getting at that time was $240 a month. And my mother was getting my dad's retirement and his veteran pension, and she was getting more money a month than I was getting teaching. And I said, there's no way that I could support a family and buy a home and give my family what I needed on that kind of money. So I decided that I was going to do something different. We had a child on the way, and my firstborn.
I think I was ready for this adventure because being in a small town is just so much you can do, and we came for economic reasons too. We had a small child, and he needed a lot of milk and a lot of other things, and I think the move was at the right time.
I'm Rene Valdry, and I'm the oldest of Warren and Virginia Valdry's children.
My name is Andre Valdry. I'm the youngest. We were just like any other middle-class family.
My mother, Virginia Valdry, is tough. I remember one time we were kids, we were riding our bikes, and these big boys pulled up in a car and took our bikes. We told her, and she came out, went around the block, found the car, and pulled the bikes out of the trunk, and had a few choice words for the guys. I don't remember what it was, but I was just amazed that, she went up against the big boys and she got our bikes back. So she's tough.
And I think they apologized too. They were 2 thieves who apologized. What type of father was Warren? Well, he definitely insisted on us achieving something, especially in school. He didn't tolerate any slacking off or anything like that. I mean, he wasn't mean about it. He wasn't one of those scary people, but he was definitely insistent that we do things, do positive things.
My core is both of them put together.
The Baldrys are very humble people that have done extraordinary things.
As I see them, they consult with everything with one another. And that made them a perfect match from the very beginning. They wanted the same things. They had the same kind of personality. Warren is giving. He and his brother both, Leon, both of these men are giving. They went to Southern. They're crazy about the university, and they bend their backs to see that it keeps going, and it's up to par.
Southern is a tremendous part of the group and development of the Baldry family, without a doubt. It means a lot to have the Baldry family's name on this center. And of all the things that we've done, it's gratifying experience, it's rewarding, but I just hope to do more. Southern has a very special place in my heart, in the hearts of the Baldry family, and the hearts of Jaguars around the country. And I hope that they will continue to keep the spirit alive. Go Jaguars.
Okay, I hope you're enjoying your meal, and if you haven't finished with your meal, just quietly eat, and we'll continue with the program. But wasn't that an awesome documentary? The documentary's director is with us tonight. Mr. Christopher Scott, are you here? Want to recognize you and thank you and your team. Give them a round of applause. Super job. Thank you so much. We'd also like to recognize Mr. Brian LaFleur, who's a Southern alum and who's the construction program manager for the center. Is he here? Thank you. Is Mr. Ben Townsend with Whitney Bank here? We want to thank you for facilitating the construction of this building. The construction loan, I'm sorry. Now, we'd like to bring to the stage Mr. Fred Banks, the chairman of the Southern University System Foundation Board of Directors, and he will introduce our guest speaker.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Southern University System Foundation Board of Directors, we're certainly glad you could join us for tonight's program. Larry Thornton is president and owner of Thornton Enterprises Incorporated. It's a McDonald's franchise. He served on the board of directors for the Coca-Cola Bottling Company, United Incorporated, and also in the First Commercial Bank board of directors. He's primarily known as a businessman and an artist. However, in April of 2019, he released his first book entitled, Why Not Win? It's a reflection on his 50-year journey from Jim Crow South to America's boardrooms and the lessons he learned. Now, since the book's release, the Why Not Win Institute, a leadership and professional development initiative, has launched at Clemson University, Auburn University, Texas A&M University, University of Alabama, Fisk University, Alabama A&M University, and Alabama State University. Thornton was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and graduated from Alabama State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Fine Arts. He taught high school fine arts at Vestavia Hills High School, and subsequently joined Birmingham Coca-Cola, where he served as advertising manager and director of business development. He was the recipient of the Moss A. Kendrick Award, a national distinction presented by Coca-Cola USA for excellence in community relations. In 2013, Larry was appointed by the governor of Alabama to the Board of Trustees of his alma mater, Alabama State University, and he was elected chairman of the board in 2014. Larry continues to produce limited and open edition art. Some of the proud owners of pieces of Larry Thornton and his art collection include Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, former U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and President of McDonald's Corporation Worldwide, Don Thompson. Would you please join me in welcoming artist, author, and entrepreneur Larry Thornton to the stage. Mr. Thornton.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be in the #1 Coca-Cola market in the world, as far as we're concerned. Absolutely. That deserves a round of applause. And, I'm drinking not just plain old water here, okay? This is the sunny water. And as the kids say around my store, ain't no shame in my game. We take great pride in asking that you remember us when you frequent your favorite grocer, okay? So thank you for that. I'm gonna sit this here because I might wanna take a swig of that. Can y'all hear me okay? Is this kind of going? Okay, good. So we're looking good. So I've been in the market all day, and we don't have this in Birmingham, Alabama, nor have we experienced that, Suzanne, anywhere that I've ever gone to visit with Coca-Cola. So thank you for this opportunity. Dr. Belton, thank you. Good to be with you. Alfred, I made a statement earlier. You know how you go to a dinner and you like the food at somebody's house and you kind of inadvertently, unobtrusively, you want to invite yourself back? Well, that's the way I feel about this experience so far. So I have invited myself back for something. I don't care what it is. I want to be back to feel this. I want to feel this. And I will tell you, the only regret that I have is not having met Mr. Valtry and the family before I had an opportunity to pen this book. So thank you for the opportunity. We have with us reps from Coca-Cola, the West Division Vice President of our company. We only have 3, Central, East, and West. This market is so important to Coca-Cola United and to the Coca-Cola Company that we wouldn't just have anybody taking the leadership. And so to you, I want to say, Suzanne, thank you for your administrative and your leadership prowess in this market. And at the board meetings, it speaks. we want to maintain what we have. So please stand so they could see you and your associates. Roderick, Mario, please stand. Coca-Cola. Thank you. We appreciate the leadership. Now, my sidekick is here. I simply wanted to write a book, Mr. Valtry. That's all I had in mind. Wanted to kind of do what you do. You want your family to kind of understand some things. But I saw on the film a servant attitude, and I saw hard work. There's no substitution for hard work. Anybody who's not willing to do more than he or she is paid to do usually ain't worth whatever they're being paid. Now, you can check that one out and you'll find it to be true. But I know you thought that you were gonna just be here, Dr. Fluker, but you spent 10 years in higher education. You and I have talked since this invitation. We hadn't been able to stop talking about the Valtry Center because it's a game changer for us. It is what we need. And I don't want to get him to talk yet, but come up, please, and tell them a little bit if you don't mind. She's going to get me about this, but just for a minute or two, please come up. Dr. Zilla Fluker, thank you.
AKA the sidekick. Thank you, Larry, for this unique opportunity. Valdry, I genuinely meant that. To the Valdry family, thank you. To the Southern University leadership team, there's bold vision, but without bold leadership, it doesn't happen. Congratulations to you. I had a unique story, I guess, with Larry. Larry was chairman of the board of trustees at Alabama State University when I was the vice president of institutional advancement. And as we were preparing for this, one of the things that's really big for us is not this book. April 1st was a nice day, and this book was released. Over 3,000 copies have been sold. 100% of all profit go towards getting us around to do what we do, which is the Why Not Win Institute. But what's most exciting about this, and what's most exciting about Larry, is planting the seed and seeing it yield a result. And this book has transformed into an institute where we're literally teaching personal accountability and professional development. We had a chance to spend time with our Coca-Cola United team today. We've been in Atlanta, all the schools that you've mentioned. But Larry and I go back to the Board of Trustees days where if you're the Vice President of Institutional Advancement and you hear that there's an alum who owns a few McDonald's, come on, Alfred, you kind of make the call. But that piece right there was on auction. And you always try to figure out how do you make yourself known to that person. So I saw an opportunity and bought that piece at an auction, and then you call the artist to talk about how much you just love this piece of art that you've just purchased. That was our introduction, but I'll tell you, and Larry's probably gonna be embarrassed when I say this, what that led to at the time, and I think still today, was Alabama State University, Mr. Valdry family's largest single donor in the history is Larry D. Thornton Sr. So for you to be identified to be at this event, I think is special and unique because HBCUs hold a very special place for us because we're all family and we're all in it together. And I think this opportunity presents an opportunity to engage someone who I think can become a family member here at Southern University. So thank you, and thank you, Larry.
So Suzanne, if I seem smarter to you than I did the last time we were together, it's because of this lady right here. She's Dr. Fluker. When I met her, she was master's level. But I went to the graduation and the only one to receive a PhD. And God knows who to bestow those types of blessings upon, because if I had a PhD, it would be tattooed right across, and I'd get upset anytime anybody didn't refer to me as Dr. Larry Thornton, but she's very, very humble with hers. So to the Valtry family, thank you so much for this gesture. Words cannot say what this is going to mean for this community, for this university, for the nation, and yes, the world. It is significantly a game changer, I believe. And I couldn't be any more impressed with that. You see, when you plan anything, that the term planned giving, Alfred, planned, anything that you plan, you get a different result when you plan something. More giving would occur, I believe, if giving was facilitated. That's what's going to happen here. to facilitate. Now, I want to say that again. When you facilitate the giving, it happens more readily. That's a fact. And I just imagine some of the shared vision that you have for this school and for this community, and you kind of marry that up, partner that up, homogenize, if you will, the pooled gifting. Shared vision, pooled gifting. That's transformational change. I was reading something just a week or two ago, and I wanted to kind of share that because it's significant that we understand that when you give, you are better. Let that sink in a second. When we give, we are better. I'm reading about these two bodies of water. Both were bordering the River Jordan. One was the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee was bustling with vegetation, fruit, vegetable. The fishing industry was alive and well, all coming from the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee was believed to have been the location where Christ were to enact many of his miracles, and parables were taught from the Sea of Galilee. But a little farther south, there was another body of water that's referred to as the Dead Sea, inherent and unique to its name. The Dead Sea was completely devoid of any life form. One of the saltiest bodies of water on earth, as much as 10 times as salty as many of the oceans that we know. Now, what in the world could be the difference in these two vast bodies of water, both of which were being fed through tributaries from the River Jordan, fresh water? I think you'll find the difference interesting. The Sea of Galilee has inlets where the fresh water pours in, and it has outlets where the fresh water continues on to bring life and vibrancy to other areas. The Dead Sea, however, has inlets, fresh water coming from the River Jordan, but it has no outlets. And you need to think about that. It has no outlets. I think that when we hoard our gifts, hold it all for me, I think we become the Dead Sea. I believe that. We become salty. We become devoid of life when we hold on. Thank you for the example for so many of us, to the Valtry family, of what's going to happen for no other reason that when our gifts come to us, and I see a minister in the house, it's designed that way, that our gifts should come to us and through us and out to others. That's what the Valtry Center is all about. Everything that we will ever receive in life will come to us through, from, and by other people. The community. If, in fact, everything comes from the community, doesn't it make sense that we should just give back to the community? If we miss that, we're asking for a very salty circumstance in life, and we see them all the time. My son provides the greatest measure of joy, Mr. President, working with me in the business. He's one of the finest young men that any father could expect to have. I believe that. And for those of you who think that I am saying that just because he's my son, well, you're absolutely right. He's a fine fellow. But I think about the time that he was just a baby, and being an artist, I rushed home before he came home from the nursery so that I could paint the wall to receive my son. The number of times that I would stand in the door of his room and gaze at my boy, Larry Dale Thornton Jr., my son. Those times that I would come home at the end of a day and I would notice that sudden shift of radiance that would overtake him when he would take notice that his daddy had come home. And he'd stop playing with whatever he was playing with, and I'd put down whatever I had in my hand, and we would move in the direction of each other. Somebody knows the excitement that I'm talking about. Saturated in an almost drunken stupor of pride. This special, joyous moment. And yet, before we could take full advantage of that joyous moment, I was almost always reminded of the many, many little black boys and girls who would never, ever get the opportunity of sharing in that kind of experience. What's the message? Inasmuch as I would like to, inasmuch as I feel it my apparent right to, I absolutely cannot afford to dedicate all of myself to my son and to my son only. I must give attention. It is incumbent upon me and us to give some attention to the needs of those around my son, those individuals who will one day make up that total society in which my son will live. That's the reality of what we're talking about as it relates to the Valdry Center. When I look at the 7 tenets, Alfred, the strands, as you refer to them, when I read the mission statement of the Valdry Center, I'm most impressed with the seminar workshop. I'm most impressed with the educational piece. I'm envisioning graduates of this university who could make a commitment, sign a pledge card, Dr. Fluker, that within 10 years of gainful employment, I'm willing to make a commitment to my university. Those are the kinds of facilitations that are available and that are upon us if we can understand the value of giving. Everything that ever will come to us must come from the community. It only makes sense for us to return to the community that gave it. What are those long-term challenges of this center? Well, I think I can probably do it through an illustration. I must have been, Mr. President, about 6, 7 years old. My daddy planted a pecan tree. I noticed that he didn't put it near the fig tree or the plum tree, the plum bushes. He went out into the open yard and he put this sapling in the ground and he tied a stake to it so as to guide it. I love pecans, so I'm naturally excited that I'm going to have a pecan tree in my yard. I don't have to go chasing in the woods anymore. After about 2 years passed, no pecans. Mr. Valdry, you probably know something about this, raised on the farm. So I got a problem with this pecan tree. So I said, Daddy, didn't you say that this was a pecan tree? He says, yeah. I said, well, where are the pecans? He said to me, boy, it's going to be 7 years, 10 years before the full fruition of pecans on this tree. Now, mind you, my daddy didn't walk around using terminology like fruition, but he did send me to Alabama State University so I could use terminology like fruition. 10 years. I want you to think about that. Why in the world would anybody take the time? He would go out and adjust this tree when he thought it was moving to the left or the right. He put time in it. I never understood it. What's the fact of the matter? Daddy did not plant the pecan tree for himself. He never saw that tree in its fullness. Who would spend time waiting 10 years? It was never for him. I was just at my home house maybe a year and a half ago, and I'm telling you to see that tree in its fullness. Talk about a gift that keep on giving. I think Daddy knew what he was doing. When we think about all of the fruit that we have eaten from trees that we did not participate in planting or pruning, the shade that we have enjoyed from trees that we took no part of raising or pruning, that's what my daddy had in mind. I think that that's what the Valtry family and this VCP project has in mind. Our success is tied to the community, ladies and gentlemen. The community's success is inextricably tied to our success. Now, we don't need to miss that piece. My message to you tonight is that it's time for all of us to take advantage of this opportunity. The appeal was made earlier to plant a few pecan trees for the tomorrowness of our lives. Thank you so much for inviting me to share with you tonight. So I'm going to share a piece of artwork. I tell you, one of the things that I enjoy most, I enjoy making Big Macs. I enjoy selling Coca-Cola. But when I want to do something and I know what I'm doing, I go to my drawing board. I am honored tonight to share with you this piece of artwork, Blue Halo, When Kenya Meets the World. This is the largest philanthropic project that I have ever been associated with. It's an international project to raise funds for Kenya, a rather large series, but it is my honor to present this to the Valtry Center, and I want you to receive that. I have a certificate of authenticity, and here's a cute thing about this too. You know, you wish Mama was here to see this. But when we did this project, we did an image of Blue Halo on a U.S. postage stamp. And I remember all of those bad grades that I brought home that so disappointed my mama when I was drawing, when I should have been learning. And if I could just say to Mama, it didn't turn out so bad. Your baby boy has his work on a U.S. postage stamp. I think that's pretty good. Can you come up?
Susan and Linda Vaudry and Renee Vaudry to come up here with me to accept this award. It's some water right there.
Water right there.
Right.
So we'll wait until they get up.
Beautiful. You painted?
Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And when I did this piece, I said, man, if I can capture the eyes on this little girl, I'm going to have this piece licked. And I think if the artist must say so himself, I think we captured the eyes pretty good. So let's get a shot here. Great. Thank you very much. It would be my honor if you all could find a place, Alfred, to place this somewhere in the center. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we want to ask our speaker to stay on the stage. Mr. Banks, stay up here with me, please. We don't have a piece of art, original art to give you, but we want to give you a small token where you remember coming to Southern, and every time you see it, say, I have to go back.
I have to go back. I've already invited myself back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all I need is the slip. Okay, at this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Ray Belton, President Chancellor of the Southern University and A&M College System, and Mr. Al Harrell, the CEO of the Southern University Foundation.
Thank you, Elsie, and let's give Larry another round. It's been a great evening, wouldn't you agree? Yes. This night was made possible because of the generous spirit of Leon Warren and Virginia Baldry. Without their sizable contributions, the center's program model and wonderful space would not be in the place on this campus at Southern University and A&M College, nor would we all have an opportunity to participate in the vital work this center has planned.
In 2014, the foundation team shaped the concept of such a program and reached out to the one family we believe embodied the spirit and commitment that would be required to make the project a reality. With Leon and Warren leading the charge, our team deployed resources and set out to create the first Center for Philanthropy at a historically black college or university.
The W. K. Kellogg Foundation made a strategic investment in helping to develop the program model for the center by conducting a year-long feasibility study to make certain a center of this nature would be a sustainable endeavor. The Southern University System Foundation, along with the university, engaged experts to design a highly technical, state-of-the-art educational space that would support the robust programming model that had been developed. Every instructional and meeting space in this 11,000 square foot facility is equipped with online and live feed capabilities.
Leon, Warren, and Virginia Baldry's gift to the university spanned over 50 years and totaled north of $4 million. Tonight, we celebrate their legacy and publicly acknowledge the investment they have made in their alma mater and the need to support excellence in higher education, promote racial equity, provide a trained workforce, and direct charitable resources to communities in need. Please join me in formally honoring the Baldry family for their generosity and their leadership that will, by way of this building and its work, forever be endowed upon this university community. We would like all of the members of the Baldry Center So, one of a kind, framed portrait of the Baldry Center. It's two of a kind, really. We have one for Leon and one for Warren, who is unable to be with us tonight. And we wanted the family to have this to commemorate the opening of this center and the work to come. Again, thank you for all you've done for us. We really appreciate it. And we want to keep making sure that we do what you envision we would do here. So, congratulations. Hold on. All right, thanks. And watch that water.
Okay, we've had a great evening, right? Let us give the entire team who put this event together a big round of applause. In case some of you did not know what I was talking about when I said that there was an envelope and a fancy brochure, I brought a show and tell now. This is what you can use to fill out the envelope to give your contribution. We even have memberships. You know, everybody wants to be a member of something, so you can become a member of the Vaudrey Center by donating as little as $250 to be a friend, $1,000 to be a member. You could have board naming rights for $350,000 and on and on. So find where you fit and fill out your envelope and leave it with the staff that will be standing at the exits as you leave. We want to thank everybody for attending. It has been my pleasure. Al calls me at the last minute and think I'm just sitting in Washington, D.C., can hop a plane and get here, but I keep pulling off these miracles and getting here, so I guess he'll still keep doing it. But it's been my pleasure to come home and to be with you tonight. And again, I want to thank the Vaudrey family for all that you have done, all you continue to do, and thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. Everybody have a safe trip home. Thank you very much. Is there anything else?
You used to work in the restaurant, Fred, so I know how to do this.
Houston in 19, huh?